Hey guys, this is EckhartsLadder. Hello and welcome to another special extra video. As you guys know, I am supposed to be on break. We did just have a newborn daughter. Her name is Imogen, but she's been so good that I've been able to get away for like an hour or two every night just to record some content for you guys. Now, as you probably have noticed, most of it's not very highly edited, so I'm just going to throw some gameplay or whatever in the background for you guys to enjoy. With that being said, I want to talk about The Mandalorian, and there will be some major spoilers, not only for the past episode that just came out, episode 3 of season 2, but also the season moving forward, because I will be making some speculations, which are, I will say, based on evidence. So, with the spoiler warning kind of put out there into the world, the big thing that we learned from the last episode is that the Mandalorian is now on a hunt for Ahsoka Tano, who is on a planet known as Corvus. Interestingly enough, Corvus is the name of the ship from Star Wars Battlefront 2. I think it's appeared a few other times in Star Wars media, so I wonder if there's any connection there. But he'll be looking for Ahsoka on the planet Corvus, and that's led a lot of people to think that one of our favorite Clone Wars characters will be appearing live action in the flesh next episode. Well, that's probably not the case. Let's talk about why. Alright, so the thing we've known for a while is actually who's written and directed each episode. The last episode, The Heiress, was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, written by Jon Favreau. The next episode, episode 4, was written by Jon Favreau and is being directed by Carl Weathers. Now, one thing you'll notice is that episode 5 is not only written, but also directed by Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni, of course, is a huge advocate for the Clone Wars and Clone Wars characters. He's really the heart of the Clone Wars and Rebels. He played a major role in both series, and I think it just seems obvious that if those characters are going to be brought back or brought to live action for the first time, that it will be in an episode written and directed by Dave Filoni. I think there's zero chance, and this is no affront to Carl Weathers whatsoever, but I think there's zero chance that his first directorial episode is the one where the gang meets Ahsoka. Just my opinion. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about that, but I think right there, that is pretty obvious, but there is more. So the titles and the brief descriptions for the episodes have actually been leaking a little bit early this season. Sometimes we'll get it like 2 or 3 days in advance, sometimes even a little bit more in advance, and this seems to be based on how Disney Plus or Disney gives information to content providers. Just imagine it like this. If you have cable, you can go into the cable guide and scroll through to the next day or the next week. You can see which shows are playing, and you can see usually the episode being played with a brief description. Disney sometimes gives that information a little bit in advance, and it's made its way into our hands. On that, a purported title for the next episode, Chapter 12, is The Siege, with the description being The Mandalorian rejoins old allies for a new mission, again directed by Carl Weathers. And to me, this makes so much sense. The Mandalorian Season 1 showed off pretty much just the first few episodes in the trailer, or rather trailers, and I expect that Season 2 has done the same thing. And in those trailers, we see shots of Greef Karga, Cara Dune, with the Mandalorian assaulting some sort of base. Given that this title is purportedly called The Siege, it's pretty likely that that's what's happening. And I mean, this makes sense within sort of the greater context as well. The Mandalorian likes to sprinkle in sort of slower moments between the major episodes, and I suspect that that's what's going on here. And this makes sense not only from a structural standpoint within the show, but for the plot. The show has focused a lot recently on the damage being taken by the Razor Crest, and that's not just for humor. That is a plot point, and one that I think will be addressed here in episode 4. I've guessed for a while now that, at least since the episode came out, that they will need to stop in some point and get the Razor Crest fully fixed before they travel through the galaxy. This is especially because most of what's been happening in The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 has been in the same area of space, so if Ahsoka is most likely somewhere else, they'll need to get the ship ready for long transport, and it makes sense that the Mandalorian would return to Navarro, most likely a friendly port, and I assume that Greef will probably barter the repair of his ship for maybe shutting down Moff Gideon's local outpost or something like that. Either way, with all this information being taken together, I think it's very, very unlikely that Ahsoka features prominently in the next episode, although maybe we'll see a shot of her at the end and then it will be Dave Maeve, really, who tells her story in episode 5 or 6. And yeah, this ultimately will be a disappointment for maybe even a lot of people who have had the name Ahsoka dangled in front of them and are expecting to see her next episode. But personally, I like these slower episodes. I think this sort of change in tension serves the show really well. I like visiting Navarro. I like the sort of style and the feel that those episodes have, even if they don't progress the plot in the same way. A lot of people call them filler. I don't really agree with that, especially given the fact that this show is meant to be a sort of Western. But I don't know, this is just a brief thought that I wanted to get out there because I've seen lots of this discussion over Twitter, and to be honest, I do want to kind of set some of your expectations reasonably. I also don't think Ahsoka is going to be in that show for very long. I think the Mandalorian and the child will probably be sent on their way. But that's all for today. I may have another Mandalorian video out for tomorrow, I'm not sure. Until then though, guys, have a good one, be safe, and may the Force be with you.